Hello, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, AOL, if anybody still uses it. My name is Jess, and Jess Minda is my real name, my full name. And I wanted to share this video in hopes that I could provide a more, well, not more, just different perspective on some of the recent media events regarding black people and white people. And I know it sounds really ignorant for me to put it that way, but that's really what it comes down to. So before I get too far ahead of myself, I want to show you that this is my family. Hopefully the glare's not too bad there. This picture is of my mom and dad and myself on May 17th, 2010. That was a day just months before I turned 18 that I was adopted from foster care. And during my experience with my parents and sort of all throughout foster care, I had a very unique opportunity to really understand my place in the world as a black person, and to understand some of the confusion and frustration and ambivalence that really fuels this race war that's been happening forever. I don't think it ever really came to an end. Like most things in life, it's sort of like until you deal with it, you can pretend you don't know it's there, but when it does come up, it's sort of ugly, and it makes people uncomfortable. And I guess the best analogy is sort of like if you have a fart. Yeah, I said fart. So let's say you're sitting in class and you just wolf down a bean burrito, and you feel it bubbling. It's there, you know it, you can feel your stomach turning, and you think, oh gosh, it'd be really embarrassing and make people really uncomfortable if I let this gas go, but my stomach is killing me. And so you try and you try and you try to hold it in, but what happens when it finally comes out? It's louder than you thought it'd be, or it smells really bad. But either way, it's gonna come out, and you're gonna have to deal with it. And I think race relations is pretty much one big fart. I think it's a big, ugly secret that every single person has an opinion on, and it's something that, as a society, we've been trying so hard. We've been working so hard to convince ourselves that that racism is over in America. And the reason I say, like you say, okay, well, you just totally contradicted yourself. It's not about race, but you're talking about racism. And the reason I'm talking about race and racism is because in any kind of ism, there's an element of fear. Well, terrorism pretty much speaks for itself. Classism, sexism, feminism, all the isms, racism, I'm locking them all in the same category for one reason. Because all these isms stem from fear. And fear always comes from a lack of understanding. Let me give you an example. I really hate spiders, okay? But the more I learned about spiders, the more I realized that you don't have to be afraid of all of them, just the ones that bite you and poison you. Like the black widows. I heard they're real gnarly, bro. But anyway, before I really understood that there were different types of spiders, and that actually, as ugly and terrible and creepy as they are, some of them really do some really amazing things for our environment and for our world. So my fear really doesn't, first of all, change the spider's place in the universe and the whole ecosystem, okay? And if in an attempt to make myself feel more comfortable, I killed every spider on the face of the earth, that'd be a problem, bro. That'd be a real problem. And I think that, you know, maybe I'm stretching it a little bit too far or getting, you know, like too sort of out there with my metaphor, but to bring it back to the original point that it's not about race and that all these isms come from pain, I make this video and will actually make more because I have a lot more to say. I make this video because I want to see inequality in America, not because I don't want to see white people being nice to black people because they feel guilty out of some sort of guilt or like, you know, that's the right thing to do, because that's what, you know, makes me seem cool or helps sort of like ease all the weird tension. I think the reason we need to see racism for what it is, which is really, I think, both sides could say, it's fear. It is, there's a fear on one side, well, on both sides. It's like, that's the part that makes me crazy, is that all of the same, it's like everybody is having this big argument over race, but we're all saying, at the end of the day, the same thing. I want to live in a place where I feel like I belong, where I feel like I'm safe, and where I feel like my feelings and opinions are validated. That's not a race issue. It's not, you know, that feeling, those feelings are human things. They span across any gender, any sexual orientation, any party lines, any field of work, any particular, you know what I mean? It's like, it has nothing to do with that. I think in order for us to ever really move forward, whether that's, you know, creating an environment, a loving and peaceful environment in our own families, that peace that you radiate and you teach your children and you share with your friends, that is just as viral and just as contagious as racism. I want to end on one last note, that there's a quote, or it's a song lyric. I heard it in a John Mayer song, and I sort of think he's a schmuck, but he did have one line that I really think stuck out for me, and he says, "Power is made by power being taken." So my challenge for all of these people, all of the families who have suffered great losses as a result of police brutality, pretty much anyone who's been oppressed, and for even people who may be considered the oppressor, my challenge for you in watching this video is that you don't just write this off as, you know, something we'll deal with later, and you don't pick a side and say, well, this group is right or that group is right. I challenge every single person who happens to watch this video to find, to see, and to realize the potential for growth in understanding what unites us and not what divides us. So that's all for my video. And I will be, like I said, posting more videos on a lot of other topics, try to keep it interesting. I don't have any of the problems to fixing the world, but I believe wholeheartedly that the first step in solving any problem is creating a dialogue about it. So I look forward to hopefully reading some interesting comments and sharing more of my story with you, and that's all for now.